Hello, everybody. This is Mary McKenzie with the NVC Academy, and I'm thrilled to be here on the call with you tonight and with Robert Gonzales. Tonight, Robert will be sharing with us how to reclaim our authentic, compassionate self, even when feeling pain or anger. It's been a really wonderful process pulling this call together tonight, and so I want to say welcome, Robert. I'm glad you're here on the call with us.
I'm very happy to be here.
Thanks. All right, well, let's jump in. So the reason this call exists is because we think many of us who are on a quest for a happier and more meaningful life often get stuck. And somehow we stop seeing progress and get discouraged and maybe even completely disheartened. And from that place, it's hard to gather enough energy to feel empowered or willing to continue on the task. So the call today is all about how to, instead of getting stuck and entering into a downward spiral, how to learn the way to recover our energy and motivation, and to use the difficult experience we're having to know more about ourselves and maybe even increase our self-compassion. So Robert will lead you through the process he developed over the years that he calls compassionately embracing. And with the help of a volunteer, he'll be using his process to illustrate how to expand your ability for self-compassion, how to liberate yourself from fears, discomfort, and shame that are related to your own internal dialogue, and how to learn to stay with what is until you recover what Robert calls the living energy of needs. More than a process, really, this is an invitation to a paradigm of how to be with ourselves, how to exert radical presence even in the hardest contexts and situations. And the paradigm itself represents the key to unlock our stuckness that we might be in at any given moment. And so we at the NVC Academy are just delighted to be here today to offer this program, and we're so thrilled that you signed up for it and that you'll be with us today. So Robert, as a starting point, I'm wondering if you'd be willing to share just a bit of your journey that led you to arrive to this process.
Well, it's a big question, so I'll see if I can just highlight some of it in just a few minutes. There's so many things in my whole life experience that have led, I guess, for me to be to this point in the work that I share. I guess number one is a lifetime of exploring transformational spirituality and everything that's contributed to that. A major influence has been my background in nonviolent communication, especially the part of it that emphasizes empathizing with that part of us, the inner judging mind, and which supports the transformation of that sort of a limited experience into a more full and authentic place. It has had a tremendous influence on this work. I think that there was a turning point, I think about 5 years ago, when I was preparing for a course on embracing the inner judge. In nonviolent communication, we use the symbol of the jackal, so embracing the jackal. So I was preparing for that, and then a friend of mine shared with me the work of a man named Stephen Schwartz, who does the work of compassionate self-care. He passed away in 1993, but his work is still available. That had a tremendous influence on bringing the deeper embodied experience of our life experience. So ever since then, the work has continued to evolve and develop in me and what I share, learning from the people I work with and learning from my own experience into, I guess, an ever-deepening and taking me more and more into these sort of enriching places of what I could call the feeling, sensing experience of the life force. And I guess those are some of the highlights. And if I were just to try to say it in just a few words. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah.
Actually, I enjoyed hearing that. I didn't know that you had done some work with Stephen Schwartz, so it's fun to hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to just mention to everybody on the call that at the very end of this call, we're going to offer a special offer that is only available to people who are on the call today and who stay until the end. So we're hoping that you'll stay and take advantage of that. But in the meantime, I would love to just turn it over to you, Robert, and
sure.
Welcome the volunteer you're going to work with, and let's get started.
Great, let's go. To say a couple of words before it, the person I'm going to be working with is Janine. So thank you, Janine, for volunteering to work with me. And the process I'm going to be guiding Janine through is what I call compassionately embracing, that can include the transformation of our core beliefs, if that's where the process goes. So in Mary's introduction, she mentioned that I would be showing you how to do this. And so one of the ways that I would show you how to do this is by having you listen and witness the process as I guide someone else into the process. It'll have certain aspects of it that will be highlighted, and then hopefully you'll be able to follow it as you are witnessing someone directly experiencing the process. I think I won't say a whole lot more about it other than we will start with an experience in life, kind of an experience that people are likely to have in their life that Janine is presenting and we can work with. And so I'd like to start with Janine. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
I can hear you. I'm trusting everybody else can hear you. So I think a way to begin with almost any process is that I usually like to begin with a specific event that stimulated an inner experience. And then I'll work with you in supporting you in coming to a deeper sort of transformation, inner resolution. Now, I do want to say at the outset that there's a couple of choices because the example that Janine's going to give involves another person and a relationship. So some of the things that I could work with Janine on, one of the approaches that I could work with her on, supporting her in establishing a communication with this person in a way that can be more connecting and fulfilling. The work that we're going to do is not going to focus in that way. We're going to focus on what is the inner experience that she's having, that when she's able to come to a different place with it, that will then enable her to be much more present and conscious of the other when she chooses to communicate with this person. And so, Janine, let's begin with, I'll just ask you to describe the life event, the situation that was a stimulus for what you're experiencing.
Sure. So I have a coworker, colleague, friend, and we were working on a project together, and a situation arose, and my friend wanted more time from me to work on the project. And I clearly said I only have a certain amount of time I can do this, and they really wanted more time. And in the same situation, in the same relationship with this project, this person wanted to buy me dinner, and I said no, and they went ahead and bought me dinner. And this person also wanted to communicate with me in a lot more ways, just more than I wanted to communicate via email or text or phoning. So kind of a series of events that seem to really point to the same thing for me.
Okay. So I'm hearing at least three different sort of things that happened where this person acted or communicated with you in a way that is different than what you wanted. Number one, they wanted more time with you on this project you were working with. You said you only had a certain amount of time, and even though you stated that, they still wanted more than what you said you wanted. Another example was they said they wanted to buy you dinner. You said you didn't want it, and they bought it for you anyway. The third one was that this person wanted to communicate with you more than what you were wanting. I'm guessing in terms of the volume of it, emails, phones, and texts. The number of communication was more than what you wanted.
Yes.
Exactly. So these are three. And so for the listener, I just want to say that an important part of really being able to connect to an experience in a clear way is identifying the factual events that stimulated it without mixing in any evaluations. So these are the three things that stimulated you. Now, even as you're sharing them and I'm reflecting them back to you, I'm wondering if there's anything that comes up in your experience, anything at all.
Yeah. It's there's tenderness.
Okay.
A little bit of tightness in my chest, and it's vulnerable. It feels really, really alive.
Tenderness. Okay. So it's important so much of this process is slowing down, just to really allow yourself to feel both the tenderness and the tightness. So just need to breathe and just allow your awareness to gently and clearly be with the feelings of tenderness and with tightness.
Yeah.
So,
a little bit more relaxed.
I'm a little bit more relaxed. Okay. Now, as you hold this in your awareness, I'm wondering if there's, is there any bit of the tightness still there?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's any thoughts or judgments that are in your consciousness in relation to what you observed.
They're never going to hear me.
Okay.
Then I'm not going to be heard. They're not going to hear me. They're going to listen to me. I'm not going to be able to do what they need me to do.
You're not going to be
too much work here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They want more time, more energy. I don't have it to give. Just don't have it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm almost gonna. It goes to a really almost like I'm gonna. Like I'm going to collapse. It's, really, I'm tightening. It tightens so much around protecting myself around, wow.
So this sense of all of these messages that are going on in you, they're not going to give me the time, I'm not going to be heard, there's just way too much work here, I don't have it to give. All of those kind of inner reactions are in you. And then there's a sort of overall, I'm going to collapse. What was the rest of that statement?
Just almost like I'm going to die, actually.
Yeah.
It's really a really kind of a big one.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to die. Okay. Just be with that. The experience of it. And there's a what I see as a belief there, a reaction, a belief. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah.
The sense of I'm going to die. It's something. Does it feel very core to you? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And in that, as you said before, all of these thoughts that you had and this core belief, sense that I'm going to die, I'm going to collapse, sounded as though it's something very protective. Is that what you said before?
Yes.
Yeah. A sense that this part of you, part of your system, is protecting you from something. Does that
Yeah.
resonate?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just notice that. Allow that awareness to emerge. Something, you're protecting yourself. Okay. Now as you're doing that, again, bring your attention to the feeling, sensing in the body.
My chest is tight. Yeah, my chest is tight. My back is really, really right around the shoulder blades, just like, there's a lot of pain, actually.
Yeah.
And my breathing's very shallow. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it physical pain?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is there a sense of emotional pain?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's two things I'd like you to do. One is allow yourself to breathe and allow the pain, the physical pain, the tightness, just give it room internally just to be there. You can allow it to be there. Without resisting it, without thinking that you want it to go away.
There's more tears, like almost like a relief, just a total relief of like, wow, this can be here. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's really, there's a part of you that more than just cognitively, it's really okay just to allow that tightness, the pain, just to be there in you. Notice the tears. Let yourself feel any teariness there. And that tears, I'm wondering if is there a sense of on the edge of this protection and tightness is there something softer, something more vulnerable?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Just allow yourself to invite that vulnerability. Actually let it come to you. Just very gentle, just allow it to be there. And just notice what emerges.
Yeah, just a sweetness, just a kind of like, just how much I care about the project and about this other person and myself. Just, like there's a quality of just real care.
Yeah. So just, I'm sensing that the care is, and the sweetness is more relaxed, and it's really different from the tight and the protection that you were experiencing before.
Yes, my body is much more relaxed. There's a little bit of tightness in my chest still, but just more, it's free. In fact, the pain in my back is gone.
Okay. Even the little tightness, you can just allow that to be there as you are feeling the softer, the sweetness, the care. It's all, the part of this process is that it's all allowed. Whatever is there in your experience, there's room for it. I'm wondering how it is right now for you.
More and more relaxed, a little bit of thoughts coming up around what to do, how do I...
All right. Okay.
What am I going to do? a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, I just want you to notice that part of this work, this inner work, is being able to differentiate a feeling, sensing state from a thinking state. So just notice that your thoughts go, what am I going to do? And then how that's different from the simple feeling and sensing in your system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just notice the difference. Stay with the feeling and sensing right now. And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions around it. Is there any sense of this feeling, sensing state that I'm sensing that was vulnerable, that it's perhaps an innocent, a younger part of you? Any feel of that at all?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Would it fit to say that this is a young girl part of you? The young child?
Yeah, definitely.
Notice how, if you were to regard this as a part of you that lives in you, that she is feeling something. Can you sense that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm.
And share with me the feeling sense that's coming up in you from her.
And fear. I'm going to do something wrong. I'm not going to be enough.
Okay, say that.
A lot of fear. Scared and afraid.
Yeah. So, scared and afraid, I'm going to do something wrong. So in this, I want to stay with this part of you and have the part of you that can witness this part of you also be present. Are you scared because you just so long to be accepted just as you are?
Yeah, that would be.
Just
to be enough.
Yeah. You just want to be enough.
Mm-hmm.
Just as you are.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a quality in this longing for acceptance to be just as you are. You just want to be seen this way.
Yeah.
Okay. Just notice, give room for anything else that's in this energy, in this young energy part of you. There's a sense of fear, and I'm guessing that, is she wanting trust?
Yes, definitely trust and wanting to be seen for how much she cares. And
wanting trust, wanting to be seen for how much she cares.
Yeah.
There is this sense of being seen for how much she cares, how much you care. There's something I'm sensing that is really valuable, really precious about this. Does that resonate?
Yes.
Yeah. And as I reflect that back to you, can you share with me the feeling, sensing in the body, the energy that you're feeling?
Just really more full and open.
Cool. Yeah.
It's like an energy that goes up and down that's very just pulsing and free.
Yeah.
The breath is more full and I can feel it reaching other parts of my body.
A sense that sounds like it's free from the fear and the tightness and the protection that you were feeling earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Is it more relaxed and trusting?
Mm-hmm. No thoughts that I can really kind of, nothing's really kind of, it's just more quiet. There's a stillness.
Okay. So I'm curious about something else. So earlier, this young, perhaps scared little girl part of you, I heard that she was scared and just wanted to be seen. And there's the energy of the longing, that wanting to be seen for how much she cares.
Mm.
And I had a sense, I want you to confirm it if this is accurate, that this caring is a quality that, it's an inner value, an inner quality that you are feeling, that lives in you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that resonate?
Yes, like it's a deep integrity. It's like connected to integrity, and like when I say I'm going to do something, I really want to do it, and I have I value my family and my life. So it's like it's connected deeply to my life energy.
Yeah.
My very core life energy.
Yeah. And it's something that integrity. Yeah.
Yeah. Something
very core. Now, when you say integrity, I'm wondering, do you mean by that this is in you? And I'm going to ask you a question that just to see if this fits. It's in you, meaning you don't need it from anyone else.
Correct.
Because you have a sense of your own inner care.
Yeah.
You don't need other people to see you or care for you, although you might enjoy it.
Correct.
Your wholeness, your integrity does not depend on it. Does that fit?
Yes, absolutely. It definitely lives in me.
Yeah. And I heard a little bit of a laughter, a sense of enjoyment. Can you share what that is for me, for you?
Yeah, it's just it's just sweet to touch it. It just feels good to notice it and to give it room and space. It's like, oh yeah, this lives in me.
Yeah. This feeling, sensing, is what I regard as just the heart in you, the inner valuing that already is in you. These qualities live in you as a human being. And does that fit your experience? Yes.
Absolutely.
And that further, what we learn in nonviolent communication around these things that we call human needs, universal needs, actually live in us already, that we long to see them manifest in our life. How does that sit with you?
Yes. It's like uncovering something beautiful inside. It's like, oh yeah, this is a part of me. This is such a part of all of my life. This part.
Yeah. Great. I think what I want to do is to sort of, before we finish, I want to just do a completion part of this process. One is staying in the place that you're in right now, in this feeling place, this awareness of this internal energy, this internal valuing. Keep that in your awareness. And then imagine or remember the original stimulus of what triggered the distress in you. And hold that and just notice what happens in you.
There's just more relaxation around it. Not an urgency to fix it or to make it different.
Okay. More relaxed, not urgency to make it different. Do you have a different sense or experience of the person who said and did these things in relation to you?
Yeah, it's almost like a almost not connected to them. It's like I don't know how to express that. It's like it's separate. The experience is separate or something. I don't know. And it is connected to them, of course, but the charge is not strong.
The charge is not there.
The protection, I guess I would say, the protection around me, around my own being, and the charge around her.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm wondering if, in ending this, is there something that you would like from yourself, a request you could make of yourself, or any request, given where you are right now? There might or might not be there, but just wondering.
Well, what comes is to come back here. To come back here. To come back. To visit here. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I have thank you very much. I have a sense of a completion in this, at least this part of it right now, and I'm wondering if that's so for you too, or if there's more that you'd like to say.
No, I feel complete. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Janine. Thank you. I really appreciate your willingness to be here on this call and to be vulnerable and to share an authentic experience. So, deep appreciation for that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yes. So we'll just move over to Mary. We're complete, and I'm open to whatever the next part is in terms of where you'd like to take it, perhaps answering questions or responding to people's comments.
Okay. Thank you, Robert, and also thank you, Janine, for being Robert's volunteer today. So, yes, we would love to open it up for questions. We have about 10 minutes to answer questions. So if you would like to ask Robert a question, just dial 1 on your keypad, and we'll call on you one at a time. And I would just ask that you try to be as brief as possible when asking your questions so that we can get as many questions answered as possible. So we're going to start with Shanti. Go ahead, Shanti.
Hi, thank you. Just briefly, what I experienced was as they dialogued and as she became more vulnerable and open, I saw how it brought other opportunities for connection, and I love that. And that's my takeaway gem. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanti. I really appreciate your comment. Yes.
Sure. And it's the first time I've connected with you in person. I love it. I'm so grateful. I've listened to your CDs, and they're great. I love the way you proceed. Thanks very much.
Wonderful, Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanti. And so next I'm going to call on Dana and then Patricia. Go ahead, Dana.
Hi, Robert. I really enjoyed your process, and knowing that needs are universal. Why I'm curious why you went to a child within her.
Well, in my experience, these reactions that people get in life situations are always related to earlier conditioning and wounding. At the very core, these are in our system, and that's revealed to me over and over again. So I usually approach this question out of curiosity. It's like, is the person aware of this? Because it is what I call the wounded innocence part that we hold in our system that arises in our day-to-day experiences when we have reactions. So it's just really come out of my own experience. So I'm hoping that's sufficient for your question. Does that work for you, Dana? And what you were wanting to know?
I appreciate what you said. Thank you.
Yeah, great.
Thank you, Robert. My screen just shifted, so now I'm looking for Patricia. Here we go. Go ahead, Patricia, and then we'll hear from Juwaline and then Yana. Patricia, go ahead. Patricia, just so you know.
Sorry, I muted myself. Sorry, I just muted myself. I didn't realize that. So my question is about, would you say, Robert, that qualities or needs are who we are? Like, it seems to me that this is basically the essence of our being. So I just wonder, on a metaphysical level, what you've got to say. Thank you.
That actually is very close to how I see it. For me, who we are, our true nature, has inherent to it these qualities, are qualities of our being. And as we access these qualities, the portal is through our heart. And we can feel these qualities of our being through what we long for. You know, for example, one of the qualities, I believe, of our nature is that we are naturally compassionate. We are naturally loving, and we are free. And in life, what I find that we long for is we long for freedom and love. And these longings further manifest as what we need and what we value. So all the different needs that are identified in nonviolent communication actually are an energetic unfolding of our essence. And so I'm very much in agreement with you. I just added a little bit more than what you said, Patricia.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Patricia. I just want to say how much I'm appreciating the brevity of the questions because we're able to get through so many more this way. So I will open the call up to Juwaline and then Yana and then Harold. Go ahead, Juwaline.
Okay. Thanks, Mary, and a special thanks to Robert for the demonstration, and especially Janine in revealing herself. My question is, will you tonight on this call be speaking to the format of the entire course? And I'm just curious, is it always going to be on the phone like this? Or will there be a webinar where you view things on the video?
Yeah. I think Mary is going to maybe hold on answering that until after these questions, because I think that's part of what she was going to share with the group. Is that accurate, Mary?
Okay. That's fine.
It is, actually. But thank you for the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yana and then Harold and then Cynthia. Yana? You might have your line muted. Just know that we can't hear you. Okay, I'm going to move on to Harold. Harold, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, long-time listener, first-time speaker. Hello, Robert. I'm just wondering if you get in a conflict, or if you, for example, are sitting at home and are noticing some old patterns coming up, and what kind of process or what kind of things do you do to kind of get you to that slowing down thing that you talk about?
Well, I like the question, and I'll see if I can be brief in answering it. First of all, I think to answer the question is I want to answer it in a larger context, not in addition just situationally if I get an inner conflict or reaction. I've made a commitment in my life to make my life, as much as I can remember, a mindful awareness, to bring mindful and compassionate awareness to every moment of my experiencing. So when and it's inevitable, I inevitably feel upset or conflicted or contracted. One of the first things I try to do is I try to really highly prioritize making time to bring a particular quality of awareness to that experience. So first I try to pause and I breathe. And I slow down the process so that I can intend to get in touch with an inner spaciousness. And it's that inner, one of the ways that I define compassion or self-compassion is that non-judging inner spacious acceptance of experience. So I attempt to bring that with whatever is there. And I actually do something very similar to what I guided Janine to. I acknowledge whatever's there. If there's a reaction, there's anger, there's irritation, thoughts, and judgment, I honestly acknowledge it. And then I further sort of enter into it, relax into it, bring my attention to the feeling, sensing in the body, notice whatever longing and feeling that there is, and sense into the edge behind the tightness. There's always a sense of something more vulnerable. And if I allow myself enough time, that always emerges and reveals itself. And I want to also allow room for asking myself, what is dear to me in this? What am I longing for? What am I truly valuing in this experience? And that's where I'm able to. I don't always get to that right away. But if I persist in my self-connection long enough, it always reveals itself as something precious, something beautiful that I long for that is not present in the original experience that stimulated me. So that's a quick answer to what I do, Harold, and I'm hoping that suffices for what you wanted to know.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Harold and Robert. Cynthia, and then Kay Avi.
Yes, hi. Thanks so much for the powerful demonstration and this call. I was wondering, when you get down to the vulnerable part, the longing in that, and let's say the quality that you're longing for is not there in the original experience, so maybe that experience was traumatic, something is stopped. Would you, as a process, spend more time with that part, but you just didn't in this call, so that the trauma might get unwound, or is just focusing on the longing and that what is missing, is that all that's needed?
Yeah. Well, let me just answer the last question first. For me, what is missing is that's all that's needed, and for me, that's not entirely accurate. For me, one of the most, it's as though it's a passageway into an inner landscape, and part of the passageway with almost all of these experiences is the zone of vulnerability. So I allow myself to stay there as long as I need to, as long as it wants me to, so to speak. And part of this work is developing these capacities, and one of the most important capacities in my own inner development and in the work that and in other people that I've worked with is the capacity to expand and open into those raw and tender and soft, vulnerable places. And there's something profoundly valuable and precious about this quality of vulnerability. Without the notion or the desire to move beyond it, without thinking that there's a better place, there's a beautiful spaciousness that opens up, that is indescribable, that opens up when I open to the kind of brokenheartedness in my vulnerability. There's something quite beautiful about that, and it's out of that preciousness that sometimes that the longing for the quality that was missing in the original experience, it simply emerges. But it is quite a process, and it doesn't necessarily go easily. And one of the elements of self-compassionate connection, I think, that I've experienced is patience, is non-pushing and non-resistance.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. And then Kay Avi.
Hello, Robert. Mary, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, quite clearly.
Yes.
Thank you very much for holding this, Robert. I've heard about your work for a number of years, and this is the first opportunity I've had to hear you speak, and I really appreciate your making this opportunity available. I have had for my entire life a very harsh inner critic, and I've done a lot of work to deal with that. And what I find in recent months, I've become aware that I have a number of stories that are contradicted by the evidence of my life that still I can't seem to get rid of, that hold me back and that make me feel awkward with people. And I'm wondering, how can I use your principles in order to make these voices that tell me harsh, critical things, how can I make them more gentle with me and change their criticism?
Yeah, wonderful. I actually really love the question. And the answer can sound easy in just the words that I give you, but the answer is really about a practice commitment to enter into the territory of your inner experience in a particular way. And the particular way that I would say requires a practice. And the practice would be when you hear these stories, even that they're contradicted by evidence, which is not that uncommon, the stories that feed the inner critic or that are the inner critic voices themselves, is that there is a compassionate approach to these, such that it involves listening to these voices, listening to them, because they have something very valuable to say. And it's about listening in a way that perhaps you never have before, making room for them, making room to really listen, because there's always, behind the voices, no matter how harsh they are, there's always edges of pain, there's always edges of that which is unmet needs and unmet longings, and that can only yield itself when we listen empathically and compassionately to those voices. And so it's a process that does require some degree of support and guidance by, inner maps or other people supporting you. So that's the short answer to it, Kay Avi, and I'm hoping it's a little bit helpful to give you at least some sense of direction.
It is. Thank you very much, Robert.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Wow, I loved your responses to these questions, Robert. I mean, really.
Yeah.
I love being on the other side of this, listening in.
Yeah. All right.
And so let's jump in and start talking about your program. I want to acknowledge that we still have hands up, and I'm hoping that at the end, after we've talked about Robert's programs coming up, that we'll still have time to answer maybe one or possibly two questions. But let's jump in so that we can try to allow some time for it. So Robert has a 3-part program starting with the Academy. It starts August 9th. The 3-part program is called Awakening and Living Our Passion, Living with Compassion. And it includes 2 telecourses. The first one starts October 9th, and the second one starts in January. And it also includes a webcast and Q&A program that runs the length of both of those programs, just about the length of both of those programs. So the webcast and Q&A program runs about 5 months, and it includes a weekly 30-minute webcast from Robert or audio question and answer, where you send in your questions. If you're a registrant, you send in your questions, and Robert answers those verbally. And so once a week, you'll get one of those 2 things. And so it's 2 telecourses and a 5-month Q&A and webcast program. So Robert, what are you hoping that people will get from participating in your program?
Well, first, I see this program, it's really an invitation for people to invest their life energy into participation with various practices. These practices really do open doorways to experience life and the interior life with unconditional self-acceptance and care. And the intention of this work also involves developing an unconditional relationship to others, life, and the world. And it's also an invitation to deepen one's relationship to life force, as I call it. And so my definition of spirituality is about how we relate to this fundamental life energy and life force that permeates all of life, particularly as it moves in and through us. So it's about these opportunities, and it's about also, which includes the opportunity to discover and to deepen in a new way relationship to the body as a way that it integrates body, heart, and mind. But But also with all programs and all processes, I think that people will get what they invest in terms of committed practice and engagement. It requires a real investment of one's life and energy, not to the program per se, but to their life through the program. So that's my best answer to that.
Thank you. And it's kind of unusual for you to offer an online program. You've offered a few things to the NVC Academy, but most of your work is done face-to-face. And so I'm curious what inspired you to create this program.
Well, you know, I have done a few, and the feedback that I've gotten in my own experience is that there are some obvious limitations to it. But I also have gotten feedback from people who have experienced my online programs, and I actually see it as an experiment because I haven't done the webcast or the Q&A. I'm very much looking forward to that. I think it's possible for people to experience some enrichment and transformation even when we're not gathered together physically. So in the many years that I've shared this work, I've found over and over again the deep hunger and longing for people to live their deepest purpose and meaning in life. And I just want to make it as available to as many people as possible, even given the inherent limitations of a phone conference or a webcast. So.
Thank you, Robert. And well, do you imagine that all three of the programs will be beneficial to someone who's brand new to your work and also people who already have some experience, maybe lots of experience even in your work?
Yeah, I do. Well, certainly people who are new to this work, I do believe that it'll just open up new ways, new avenues, new inner maps to enrich and deepen the quality of their experience, no matter how much previous work that they've done before. And it's also for people who have done work with me before, or that the nature of this work is that it can be experienced in new and deeper ways, even though it appears that the particular topics might on the surface appear to be the same. I often use the metaphor of a spiral in which points on the spiral, as in the circle, can be the same but be experienced in ever-deepening ways. So I've received lots and lots of feedback who've worked with people who've worked with me over the years who have, on the surface, the same material they experience in really new and deeper and enriching ways. So it's really, I think, not only that, but I am always learning and deepening the experience of it. And I really don't know anybody that shares this kind of work that doesn't experience something new and deeper, expanding all the time.
And I think those are exactly the kind of people who are attracted to this kind of work, that desire to continue to go in deeper. Yeah, thank you, Robert. So I just want to remind people that Robert's program, Awakening and Living Our Passion, Living with Compassion, starts October 9th. It includes 2 telecourses and a 5-month webcast and Q&A program. You can sign up for each program individually if you'd like to. We also have specials. If you sign up with a friend, you get a big discount. So we've tried to make it as affordable as possible. So I feel like I'm kind of rushing along here, Robert, but you know there were a few people who had their hands up. Would you mind if we sort of switched and we'll try to get those questions answered?
No, not at all. I'd love to.
Okay, so let's start with Catherine. Wait, I need to unmute your line, Catherine. So we're going to start with Catherine, and then we're going to go to Carl. Go ahead, Catherine.
You're talking to this Catherine?
I think so.
I totally lost my train of thought. I have so many disabilities, and my brain is kind of trying to write down notes and pay attention, and I've forgotten what kind of questions I need, but
you know what, Catherine? Catherine, hearing that, you know what, I'd really be happy to call on somebody else and give you a chance to sort of gather your thoughts so you can answer Robert can come back to you. Would you like to have just a moment?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, I'd be happy to do that. So in that case, let's start with Carl. I'm looking for you, Carl. Go ahead, Carl.
This is Carl Jackson. Robert, I'm aware of the complexity for me of entering that portal at various complicated moments of my life when there's a lot of hubbub around, a lot of action, a lot of noise, a lot of stress. And I wonder if you have any tips on ways of that one might quiet themselves and enter that vulnerable domain, even under those circumstances.
I'm not. There's a lot I could say. I'll just try to keep it short. I think, for one thing, I don't know anybody that doesn't have a life full of more things to do, more noise, more stress. I mean, that I can certainly relate to that. But and so I'm not trying to devalue what your experience is. But I think for me, what it requires is it takes an absolute commitment to move, to act in a way that really addresses this, and to actually create some time each day to do whatever you need to do, to sit, to pause, even if it's only 5 minutes each day, to make an unrelenting commitment to say, I am going to do this for my life, for the quality of my life. And of course, the nature of what I would add to that, I don't have a lot of time to say what would be the practice, but to wait and just to pause and to connect with one's inner experiencing, to be with it, to allow it. And that would be a sitting practice where you would just sit or stand or just take some time alone every single day. And then over the days and over the weeks, I would increase that. The nature of the practice would be something I could expand upon if we had more time. But it does require a commitment in the face of this tremendous force that I think you're facing, that we all face, of all the noise and the stressful stimuli and so on. So, that's all I can say for right now, Carl. I really wish you well in this challenge.
Thank you, Robert. Catherine, are you ready to ask your question yet?
Well, I've been jotting some things down. I'm in the position right now, in the middle of my family. I'm always there for everyone else. I have to be the one to take care of the brother that went to jail, and the brother that died of cystic fibrosis, and the brother that's a drug addict. And I have a lot of disabilities myself, and I've been abused from day one. And right now, my 3 adopted sons are accusing me of being a rotten mother, and today on Facebook, it just hit me hard. And I don't know if I can give myself compassion, because nobody, everyone else's life seems to be more deserving of attention and compassion. And I feel like I'm doing a little pity party, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm ready to start my second chapter.
What's the last thing you said, Catherine?
I'm ready now to start the second chapter of my life. I'm going to turn 52, and I'm ready for my first childhood. And with all the disabilities that I have, I think I need to kind of stay away from the family, because they take a lot out of me that they don't even know.
Well, Catherine, let me just give you a response that I can in a short period of time. First of all, I'm hearing a tremendous amount of what you are facing that makes it so difficult for you to offer yourself any kind of self-compassion. So there's the external stimuli that make it very stressful for you. But I'm also hearing the internal stimuli that you have going on inside of you. I'm not sure of the detail of it, but there's a lot I'm sensing inside of you that makes it difficult for you to offer yourself acceptance and compassion. Yeah. And so I would say that it's not just the external and the internal stimuli, but it's also, I'm guessing that you really maybe have never learned how to give yourself compassion. What does this mean? Yeah. I think that not only you, but I think we all need a guideposts or inner maps. We need to know what to do or how to do it. It's not just an idea. It's not just something that we say, okay, I'm going to give myself compassion. I'm going to try to do it. But what do you do in those moments? It's so easy to get lost, to be lost.
What happens when you get caught?
Pardon me?
If I got caught from any of my family members showing my self-compassion and not being there all the time with them.
Yeah, and I'm hearing that as one of your challenges. That's part of it. How do you meet the external situation that isn't supporting you, and how do you meet your internal dynamics that also isn't supporting a quality of self-compassion? These are all challenges. So what I'm saying is that first of all, I don't think that you or any of us can do this alone. We need support, whatever that might be. And we need inner ways, guideposts, maps that show us the way. Without this, I think that most of us would just be lost. So I could probably say a lot more, but that just in the time that we have, that's the best that I can give in a short period of time. So there are certainly other ways. This course, I think, could support you in developing the maps and the guideposts, but there's other ways as well. So I don't want to say that.
I'll just end real quick with what I've been doing my whole life is I just write everything down. I get it all out.
Yeah.
My own little self-pity party, and then nobody reads it. I burn them. I shred them. I just get it out of me until I have to do it again. And
yes. So it may be that is minimally helpful, and yet, for me, self-compassion is. I'm not saying you're saying this is not a pity party.
It's not working anymore. It's not working anymore.
Yeah. So I hear you. Okay.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Robert. And thank you all for being on the call today. And thank you, Robert, so much for doing this call tonight and all the work that you do in the world and also through the Academy.
Thank you, Mary. I so enjoyed this program. So look forward to the 3-part program very much.